Hey, what's going on, guys? So I wanted to talk to you guys about how competitive the dating market is today. It's insanely competitive. It's like, especially if you're living in a big city, it's you could be at your best. You're dressed your best, wearing your best clothes, smelling good, hairstyled, etc. Everything doing well. And you could meet women and they could show interest at first. And if you get to that point, for most guys, they can't even reach that point. But let's say you get to the point where women are actually even interested in speaking to you or enjoy your conversation, and you text them and they text you back. Well, guess what, man? The girls that even text you back, such a small minority of those girls are going to actually meet with you. And a very, very small minority of girls in that small minority are going to have sex with you or form a relationship with you. It's super, super rare, right? So the way it is, it's pretty insane. Women are a hypergamous species, right? They basically, women are a hypergamous gender. Throughout history, they have always desired the best genetics for their offspring. So they all go towards that, like all of them, like majority of them want that, and they want the most ideal for them. They want the best genetics for their particular genetics. Like when they combine, they'll make the healthiest, most attractive babies. And usually attraction is based on that, right? Okay, but if you notice that, so with women all going towards a small minority, there's a insane amount of men who are not getting any women at all. And it's pretty incredible how it is. I said this before. I think women deal with men in kind of a sociopathic way, in the sense that their genes, let's say, are sociopathic, and that they only care about themselves, right? Let's say their genes are sociopathic and they make them behave sociopathically. So women can be very nice to cats, to dogs. They can care really much about them, etc. But when it comes to men, that it turns into complete, survival of the fittest, sexual selection, female instinct coming out. It's not like conscious human, like caring and consideration there. They're there to, they don't care about the man's emotions. If they feel that you are not a quality genetic man, they won't care about brushing you off or turning you down or hurting your feelings or ruining your life. They won't care, because at the end of the day, their gene is the thing that makes them operate and do what they do. It's the master controller of their behavior. The genes are the master controller of human behavior, for most humans, unless they're very conscious and they could really dictate what they do. But for most humans, the gene is the controller, the mastermind, and the deepest motivator behind their behavior. And women, so what do the women's genes want? The women's genes are thinking to themselves, I have to get the most high quality man with the best genetics for me. I need to get that man, and I need to have his seed. And on top of that, I also need to be able to provide for these kids, these children, these babies that I'm going to have with this man of high genetic quality. So, and I'm not talking about just high, but highest among the spectrum of men. So let's say 10 of the men are sub 5. 5 of the men are, or 2 of the men are 6s. 2 of the men, one of the men is 7, one of the men is 8, and one of the men is 9 or 10, whatever, right? And let's say there's 10 women. Those 10 women are all going to be wanting the top male. They're not going to be wanting these guys at the lower ends of the spectrum. They're all wanting that top male. So it creates a really difficult situation. And yes, social media, online, internet, dating apps have really messed that up because it gives women really easy access to those top quality men. Top quality in terms of genetics, right? Now, here's the crazy part. The problem is that a big problem is that among those men, majority of those men in that spectrum, even the 9s, 10s, will sleep with the majority of those women in the female spectrum. They will sleep with girls at the low ends. You know, it is a advantageous genetic characteristic of a man, behavioral characteristics, evolutionarily speaking, if the man will desire and has sexual desire for many different types of women of varying degrees of attractiveness. Because for a man, he just wants to have as many of his offspring on the planet as he can, right? His desire is to basically have sex with as many women, have many children from many different women, regardless of the women's, attractiveness. But of course, I'm not saying I would date a girl who's like 2 or 3, but there are a lot of guys more attractive than me who would. They would just sleep with her and have sex with her, and then, yeah. It's advantageous evolutionarily speaking, so it's part of our male instinct, I guess. Man, it's amazing, because I went out a few nights ago, and man, I was actually doing really well. I met a lot of girls, and they were wanting to meet. I met one last night. All right, and that was okay, but she wanted to be a friend, so I guess I was not attractive enough for her. But again, she was Asian, and I don't know. She has different tastes, I guess. But she was over at my place, and we were fooling around. We weren't doing anything serious. We didn't have sex or anything, but we didn't even do anything. Most of the time when I have a girl come over, usually something happens. I have a feeling this one has an agenda, like she's trying to settle down with a guy or something. That's the feeling I got. So a lot of times when girls, she came over to my apartment within like 10 minutes of meeting, right? So obviously she felt comfortable with me, and women only feel really comfortable around guys that they're actually attracted to, right? Most of the time. So there was that factor, but I feel like she has an agenda. So I feel like she wants to maybe get in a relationship, a marriage, something like that. So she's withholding any sort of intimacy. I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. But I know that she's still texting me now. So she's still talking to me. And I'm assuming, because I've had stuff like this happen before. Now, that was one out of like several girls I met, man. The problem is that, man, when you meet a pretty girl and you even be a charming guy, you could be a 10 as a guy. Maybe not a 10, but maybe, let's say you're an 8 or a 9. You're still going to be having trouble. Majority of the women are not going to still not going to see you. Majority of the women they have a plethora of other 8s, 9s, and 10s to choose from, so they will choose them. You may walk around and notice that there aren't that many attractive guys, but the truth of the matter is there are. When you go on Tinder or a dating app, there's a lot of attractive guys, and that's how women are kind of seeing things. You can walk outside and not see many attractive dudes walking around, but when you go on Tinder, women can find them very quickly. They're all over Tinder, right? So here's what I will say. I'm going to do a video on logistics in a bit, because I think that's another big factor. People don't realize that the location you are plays a huge aspect in how successful you will be with women, or how much dating you will be doing. So I can tell you, because I lived in an area that was kind of like a hillbilly type area in the Midwest, right? I lived in a place like that for a short period of time, and there was attractive girls there. There's attractive girls all over the place, but there were attractive girls there, and there weren't many attractive dudes, though. There were not many interesting, charismatic type guys there. There was a bunch of guys that were into football and baseball and simple-minded guys. So I did very well when I went to these places. I did a lot. I had a lot more girls there than I did in areas where the market is more competitive. Where the mating market is more competitive. So, but also at the same time, if you live in an area where there's no women, like Ohio or some shit in the middle of nowhere, I mean, you're not going to be dating anyone. You have to be in an area where there are women. But anyways, I want to leave that talk with that. I just want to tell you, I just been realizing how difficult dating is today, or just like forming any sort of connection. Women are very, man, they're very hypergamous, and that's the reason why a lot of guys are having trouble dating, because women are hypergamous and they're only choosing a specific selection of men. Yes. And you could put in a lot of work. Now, one thing I am doing that I recommend you guys all try to do, these are some goals of mine that I set, and I'm going to make them happen. And I think they're very good for you. Number one, when they talk about face LMS, looks do matter the most. Money does matter, because even if you have the looks, let's say, with the exception if you look like Jeremy Meeks, but let's say you're an 8 or something, but you're broke, you're going to have a more difficult time dating than you could have. It would be way better if you were somewhat financially stable. If you had somewhat of a status, not so much, but money can make a lot of things easier. For instance, if you're living in a dorm or like a shared apartment with a bunch of, random dudes in it, and every time you bring a girl over, they freak her out or they get overexcited about it. This happened in a place I used to live. I used to have 2 roommates who never would get with any girls, and every time I brought a girl over, they'd be like really excited and like trying to like connect with her, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, and she would get really weirded out, and that was the end of that. So, for instance, finances for that. Finances for, it's true that women, some of the, a lot of relationships that you have with women are conditional. All of them, all the relationships that you have with women, you are providing some form of value to her in exchange for some form of value that she's offering to you. Now, her value could just be her presence. It could even be just her being at a dinner with you or texting you. There's some guys so simpy that they order a girl's bathwater, like Belle Delphine. They order her bathwater for $30. And that's how simpish they are. That's a form of value to them worth $30, okay? A bathwater from some chick who's not even attractive. I'm sorry. But so they do that. And then the form of value the man has to provide is insane. Now, here's something I just figured out, all right? The form that the man has to provide in externalities, such as money, status, experiences, etc., the amount of stuff that man has to provide to the girl and the stuff that the girl has to provide to the man is basically how valuable it dictates. I mean, it indicates very clearly how valuable the guy is genetically to her. Because if you aren't valuable genetically to the girl, you're going to have to compensate for it in a lot of different ways. Okay, so you're going to have to compensate it with money, with status. There's like this friggin' like 70-year-old guy that I saw with a 19-year-old girl, and he was dating her. Well, guess what? He's a very rich man. Okay, he's driving around like with a chauffeur and a Rolls Royce. He's a very rich dude. Okay, and he tried to marry her. And that was her dream, to marry this guy so she gets all that money. I don't know if that happened, but this was a while ago. But if you are an attractive man, or if you are genetically attracted to the girl, you don't really have to offer all those things. Now, don't get me wrong. Offering those things will make you more valuable to her. It will make you a more inspiring option to her than, some guy who doesn't have those externalities. But just be aware that the externalities that you give to a woman will not create physical attraction. They will not create lust. They will not create romantic feelings for the most part. They will not create romantic feelings. They will create, you will get women who have an agenda. Like the one I had over last night, she was a woman with an agenda. I don't know if she was attracting me or not. I don't think so, because we didn't do anything. But at the same time, she's still talking to me. Why would she be doing that if she's not into me, right? And she hung out with me for like 2-3 hours last night, and I wasted my time. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not texting her again. She thought I was going to text her today. Did not text her. But I wasted my time there, right? And basically, I think she was talking about one of the first few things she mentioned to me was that she has a it was like maybe like 30 minutes into our conversation on my place. Basically, she said, I have this visa that's running out. She's like in her mid-20s. She's a very attractive girl, but she's Asian, and her visa is running out. So that's interesting. I was wondering what she was thinking there, mentioning her visa to me, like how it's gonna, because maybe she wanted to get married to me or something to have it prolonged. Maybe she's looking for a man for that reason. And I think she's looking for a guy. I think she's looking for a guy to form a serious bond with, maybe get married so she could stay here longer because she doesn't want to go back to Asia. And these are conditional relationships. They're what women refer to as situationships. And I highly suggest never get involved with those type of things. If the girl doesn't like you for you, don't get with her. Don't stick with her, and do not develop any feelings for her, because she has no feelings for you. She has very little feeling for you. So don't develop any feelings for her. Do not extend too many resources to this girl. If you just like her presence once in a while, that's cool, but know where things are at. Be very clear. When a girl likes you for you, there isn't much resistance to her getting intimate with you. She wants to, okay? If she doesn't like you for you, generally, she will be putting up more resistance. She will not get intimate. She will not initiate intimacy. She will not be physical, etc. So, all the relationships I had with women, by the way, they were all because the girl liked me for me. Vast majority of them were because the girl liked me for me. They were not because I was offering certain things. I'm not a rich dude, so I don't even have much to offer in terms of externalities. But they were based on that, and I suggest. So, like I was saying, I have these goals set up. One of them, I realized that physical appearance is such a strong dictator of how well you will do in this world. It is such a strong dictator. It will dictate so much of your life, your physical appearance. It will open doors for you. If you are a good-looking person, or just like interesting looking even, it will open doors for you. And it goes vice versa. If you are very unattractive, a lot of doors for you will close. A lot of things will go the wrong way. You'll lose a lot of opportunities. You will have trouble in dating. You will less likely to be social, have friends, etc. So it's very important, I believe, to focus on your physical appearance. Of course, focus on your mind, your character, stuff like that. But definitely, your looks are such a unfortunately in our world today. If you want to do well in this world, you should really, looks are one of the most important things to improve. And finances are also very important. Something I do is I'm creating several passive income streams. It's a very good thing to do. Several in diverse domains: investing, real estate, e-commerce, etc. So I'm doing those things. And that would be it. That would be that. I think that's all I have to say at this point. One last thing I want to say, I really do think that the way remember what I said about women being controlled by the gene. Women are controlled by their genes. When it comes to situations where the gene is very present, for instance, when a woman is taking care of her dog or her puppy, the gene is not very present there. She's just enjoying the puppy and she's like liking playing with it. But when she's choosing a mate, and when she's choosing a mate that she will have sex with and produce babies and a whole genetic lineage with her, limited amount of eggs that she carries, she's going to be natural. Her genes are going to force her to be very callous, unforgiving, insensitive, and operate in a way that is best for the gene. Remember that. Vast majority of the time, that's what will happen. And I experienced that firsthand recently. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, I hope you guys recognize that. All right, that would be it. All right, thank you guys. Bye.